Special budget workshop, joint meeting, Board of Finance, Board of Selectmen. And we'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Public speak. We have a fair few people here. I'm going to go around. Colin, we'll leave you for later. Let's see. I guess I'll just go through my list here. Elaine?
Hi. I just, as the chairman of the EDC, I just want to make sure that when we go ahead and craft this year's budget coming up, that we have definitely money in there for a part-time planner who can assist with economic development. I know currently our part-time planner has been working on the POCD, and I know that was his main part of his job. But the town, unless we go ahead and take him on for another year, then we don't have a planner. So I just wanted to put in, it's very important that we carry on having a part-time planner who then economic development can work with. That's all. Thanks.
Thank you. Elizabeth Partridge.
Okay, I just want to make a short comment on the Board of Ed meeting I attended regarding their budget. For years, I've been told that if you want to have input to their budget, you need to attend their meetings and not just wait to comment at the town meeting. So I did. But what I heard was a long list of teachers who called in to tell us how they couldn't possibly cut anything in the budget because it would make their jobs so much harder and damage the students, and how much they love their jobs. I heard the superintendent and board chair silence dissent from board members and the public who did not agree with them. I didn't hear any response to issues raised by board members or attendees like the 11% increase in the salary of the superintendent or the additional teacher for the 6th grade. I didn't hear anyone considering what cuts could be made because everything is absolutely crucial. Year after year, the starting point for the Board of Ed is last year's budget. Maybe it's time to start from scratch and do a zero-based budget. With 27% of the Andover population 60 years or older, with Social Security and pension costs of living increasing 2.6%, the citizens cannot absorb an 11% increase in the education budget. Every year, the town budget takes a backseat to the education budget. How long can we continue to do that without impacting the other town services?
Okay. Joanne Hebert.
Hi, Rob. I'm just here to listen and learn. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Lisa's iPad. Oh, that's you. Sorry. Got it. All right. Very good. Marcy.
Hi, no thanks for now. Thank you.
Okay. Ron.
Hi, Rob. I'm here listening in. I also have concerns about the 11% increase for the superintendent and a lot of the increases on that. And I noticed there's other increases on this whole budget thing that I was looking at, and it's that I printed off. And it's just, custodians not getting a raise, but we're giving 11% raise to other people. So I agree with the last person that spoke out about the budget. I think it needs to be readjusted, and I think we need to take care of this elderly in this town, which we don't seem to be doing. It seems to be the priority of all the kids that are out of town going to our preschool that I believe some of us are paying for in this town. Thank you.
Scott.
Yeah, I wasn't going to speak. I was just going to listen, but I want to correct a little misinformation I just heard. First of all, I had a very different meeting where it was at the last Board of Ed, where I didn't think dissent was silenced at all. I thought it carried on for a very long time in a lot of disagreement. And I just want to point out that the Andover budget has, over the last 10 years, gone up 5%. total, the Andover school budget. So just point that out. They're asking for a lot this year, but it has not been a big thing over the years.
Thank you. All set? Sharon,
I'm all set right now. Thank you.
thank you. And I just have a phone number here, 208-2345.
Dennis?
Yes, that's the town attorney.
Oh, I see. All right. Well, let me know if I missed anybody, but that's everybody as I scrolled through the participant list that I saw that was not on one of the two boards for the joint meeting or a town employee. Okay. Well, that moves us into our main agenda, the budget workshop. I did see that we were emailed around a PDF file of the first pass of the budget. I guess it doesn't exist in Excel form yet, but I did take a quick look at it. I haven't had a chance to pour over every line. I understand it's preliminary.
It does exist in Excel.
Oh,
That is Excel that you got. Yeah.
Wait a minute. Okay, sorry.
No. Listen, she printed it in a PDF form. A kind of a different concept. You know how last year there was some issues with the calculations on this.
Mm-hmm.
Our new treasurer, Lisa, who before we get started, I just want to sit there and let everybody in the public know what a terrific job she is doing to sit there and help us get a little bit better at this. I can't thank Lisa enough for all of the things that she's been doing, and we're lucky. So on that, she's created an Excel. She has an Excel. What we need to do, Rob, is create a process as to how it gets updated. Like, it can't just be floating around between people to sit there and update our budget. So that's the reason why it's a PDF. It will be available to you. I asked for the same thing. But as changes are made, Rob, they have to be funneled back through the treasurer. So the treasurer maintains all of the data. And then we understand if there's a problem, where it happened and how it happened.
Okay. The reason I raised it is when I was looking at it, and again, I haven't reviewed it super in depth, but I saw one field where it just looks like, maybe a formula isn't working properly or what have you. Obviously, it's going to be tightened up. So that's why I was thinking for the Excel. I don't know if we can do some sort of Google Docs thing with a password protection or something where only certain people can.
Let's get through our first go with this, and then we'll all work on how the process can be improved in the future. So before we even get started on the town stuff, I recommend that we move to Colin McNamara's presentation from RAM, just so that he doesn't have to sit. I'm sure he's sitting on 3 of these and doing all these. So let's try to be considerate and let him do his presentation and then move up to other issues. All right.
I agree. I was going to say the same thing.
I appreciate that. Thank you all so much. Appreciate it.
You want to introduce yourself, Colin, or you want me to just share it?
Yeah, I mean, if you want to pull it up, I'll just, kind of kick things off as you're getting things going. So for those of you that don't know me, I'm Colin McNamara. I'm the proud superintendent of Regional School District 8, RAM. I appreciate being provided the opportunity to come and speak with members of the Andover community tonight and share information about the RAM budget. I want to make sure that I recognize and thank Scott Scoyette, who is a member of the Andover community and also serves on the Region 8 board. I know Scott has a lot going on as well, and I appreciate you being here tonight as well to support the RAM budget. I'll just say next slide, and we'll just kind of roll right into things. But I am pleased to be here tonight to present the RAM budget for fiscal year 26-27 to members of this community. If we go to next slide, please. So the proposed budget that I'm going to talk about tonight supports the district's mission and vision of partnering with families in the community to provide our students with a high-quality education and a welcoming, safe, and equitable environment. It is critical that we keep these factors in mind as we move through the budget process over the next few months. Next slide, please. The budget also supports the district's mission and vision of partnering with families in the community to provide all students with a high quality education and a welcoming, safe, and equitable environment. It supports the work of all district staff focused on ensuring that RAM graduates have the skills and dispositions needed to be successful in life beyond high school. They include critical thinking, motivation, communication, integrity, and collaboration. Next slide, please. There are several priorities that we use when developing our budget. First, it supports the implementation of the goals identified in the district's strategic plan. These goals focus on improving in the areas of instruction, talent management, climate and culture, and organizational systems. The budget also supports the academic and social and emotional needs of students. It enables us to maintain a program of studies with a variety of course offerings and career pathways that ensure our students are college and career ready. And finally, it enables us to maintain and improve the district's facilities and grounds. Next slide, please. Next one. Thank you. So the current proposed budget for fiscal year 26-27 is $34,176,011 and represents an overall budget increase of 4.77%. This amount is a combination of a net operating budget of $33,676,011 and a capital budget of $500,000. Andover's levy for next year's budget is 12.65%, a reduction from the current year's budget of 12.99%. So it's a little wonky looking. I apologize for that when it converted from one form to another. But I could just tell you that the difference between operating budget and capital budget from current year to next year's proposed budget, the operating budget is a difference of a $96,124 increase, and a capital budget difference of a decrease of $10,207. So again, overall, there's about a difference of about $86,000 increase between our current fiscal year and next fiscal year's proposed budget. If we can go to the next slide, please. So I always like to provide an overview of our historical budget changes over the past 10 years. I think it demonstrates our track record of responsible fiscal stewardship. Despite the current challenging times that we face and the rising costs that are impacting school districts and municipalities and families all over the state and the country, I'm pleased to present a budget that I feel is both sustainable and responsible to the current fiscal reality that we're all facing. Next slide, please.
Colin, one question. I'm sorry.
No, please.
Are you okay if we interrupt and ask?
Jump in as you want to. Absolutely.
Okay. Can you go back one page, Jim? And just explain to everyone how the levy is calculated. So the 12.65%.
Sure. So the levy is based very simply off of enrollment as of October 1st of each current year that we're in. So next year's levy, so the levy for 26-27 is based off of the October 1 enrollment of 2025, and that fluctuates from year to year, right? So what that means when I talk about it being 12.99 for the current year's budget, it means that 12.99% of RAM's students at both the middle school and the high school come from Andover. Next year, I should say this, our October 2025 enrollment numbers show that 12.65% of RAM's total student enrollment come from Andover. So it changes slightly from year to year. It could go up a little bit. It could go down a little bit. Andover has seen a decrease in enrollment over the past several years that I've been here. And so that decrease in enrollment for the total population of RAM students has been advantageous for Andover. Because again, we're looking at an $86,000 increase right now combined between operating capital. There have been years that I certainly have been told about where Andover's percentage of students attending RAM has gone up, and it's had obviously a negative impact on the Andover budget. Right now, Hebron is the town that is realizing the most significant impact of enrollment shifts. Andover is benefiting, Hebron not so much.
Do you have those totals, like what the Andover student population is, what the total population is, what Hebron has and Marlboro has? Do you have those available?
So I do. So they're actually in our current budget book. I don't have that available right now. I don't have that information in front of me. But if you want to access, I can certainly email it to you tomorrow. That's not a problem at all. But if you go onto the Region 8 website, which is ramschools.org, and you go to the Board of Education link and then click on the budget information and you click on the proposed administrative budget, there's a page that provides a comprehensive kind of overview of all that information that you're asking for, how the levy has changed and the percentages have changed for the towns. Again, I'm happy to provide that information to you tomorrow, Jim, and you can push that out to members of the community.
Thank you.
Sure. So this chart shows a percentage distribution of the proposed budget by object categories in relation to the total budget. Not surprising, I'm sure. I'm sure it's relatively similar for the Andover Board of Ed budget. 73% of our proposed operating budget is allocated to employee salaries and benefits. These are fixed costs with staffing our schools. If we can go to the next slide, please. So there are several drivers.
Liz had a question. I don't know if Liz is for now or you.
Please jump in. Might as well go along or take them as we go.
Me? I didn't have a question.
Oh, somebody had their hand up.
Actually, I'm sorry.
Oh.
It went up and I put it back down again. That was my
Oh,
mistake.
sorry, Louise.
Sorry.
As I said
Okay.
this.
Okay.
I thought I heard something.
So there's several drivers, as I was starting to say, that are having an impact on the proposed budget over our current year's budget. Certainly, I'm sure that you've heard about this before. Health insurance is having a significant impact. Currently, we're budgeted at a 15% increase. That the finalized number is not usually established until March. That number could change. It could increase. It could decrease. We have contractual salary increases, obviously, as I mentioned before. So I'm not going to read this to you, but you can see there are a significant number of things that are driving our increases. If we go to the next slide, please.
I do have a question about this one.
Sure.
The health insurance. Is RAM part of the same healthcare consortium that Andover is in?
We are. In fact, it's the Region 8 Healthcare Consortium. So it's all four of the school districts, all three of the municipalities, and AHM as well.
Okay, so this number may change. We just have to keep an eye on it.
So it could what you ideally want to see as you move closer to March, when we set the final number, you hope to see changes in claims that give you an ability to decrease. We don't know if we're going to be able to decrease. There's, to be honest with you, there's a possibility that percentage might need to be increased. We just simply don't know yet, but it'll be established next month, I believe, is when we typically establish it.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I have a question. It's Louise. The special ed outplacement tuition, has that gone down from last year?
No, this is a driver that's actually showing an increase. So we're seeing an increase in special education outplacement tuition of approximately $138,000. The thing that I would note, though, is, this is like health insurance costs, special education outplacements is a bit of a moving target. The reason I say that is because I could have a student move into the district tomorrow or next week. I shouldn't say student, but a family move into district that could either decrease special education outplacement tuition costs or increase special education outplaced tuition costs. The number that you see in front of you of $138,000 is reflective of kind of where we were when I presented to the board in about a month ago.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions on this one before we move on? All right, fantastic. So we're going on. So there's some drivers. Obviously, there's good news. It's not just increases, but we do see decreases. So notable reductions are magnet school tuition, special education purchase services, electricity, natural gas, and just technology hardware. The other piece that we are not quite certain about, it's one of the other unknowns at this point, is our tuition that we will realize from Columbia students identifying RAM High School as their school of choice. For those people that are not familiar with it, our current school year is the first year that RAM High School has become a school of choice for students leaving 8th grade, coming into 9th grade from Columbia. We currently have 10 students attending RAM High School from Columbia, and we are very optimistic that are going to see that number increase, obviously, over time. Currently, we only allow students coming in as freshmen. So freshman students, or I should say 8th grade students who attend Horace Porter School in Columbia, have the ability to identify whether or not they want to go to, either E.O. Smith High School, Bolton High School, or RAM High School, or obviously they have the options of agri-science centers like Lebanon or E.O. Smith. They also have the option of Connecticut Technical High Schools. But that revenue, it reduces each town's member town levy. So it's very advantageous. The more students that we have from Columbia, the more advantageous it is for our sending districts because it reduces each sending district's member town levy. It's applied to our budget as anticipated revenue, and it reduces that net operating budget. So where we are right now is, like I said, we have 10 students currently attending from Columbia. We have budgeted for an additional 10 students. We don't quite know the number for certain at this point, but that 10 students is reflected by the $150,729. We should know by the beginning of next week how many students have identified RAM High School as their school of choice, and we will adjust the budget accordingly once we have those numbers provided to us. Any questions about that?
Question. Oh, go ahead, Liz.
Go ahead, Louise.
Oh.
Go ahead, Louise.
Just a quick question. If the Columbia students go there and they decide halfway through the year they don't want to attend, what happens? Do they have to stay there a full year, or?
So it's a really good question. I honestly, I guess what I would say is it depends. There's not a definitive answer. And I'm not trying to be elusive, but what I could say to you is that one of the things that I mentioned when I was talking about it initially is that we allow freshman students to attend Columbia. From Columbia to attend RAM. So they finish up their 8th grade year, they identify RAM, they come to RAM. If, let's say, for example, an 8th grader finishes up their time in Columbia, identifies E.O. Smith High School as the place that they want to go to high school, and halfway through the year, they say, this is not the place for me. I don't want to go to E.O. Smith. Hey, RAM, I want to come to you. We will say to them, we appreciate your interest in our school district, but no, thank you. The reason that we do that is because we don't want this to be a situation where families or students are essentially school shopping, right? There's a possibility that a student could identify their school of choice and say, this is where I want to attend. They attend there for, again, 6 months or a year or 2 years, and then maybe have some issues. Maybe the issues are concerns they have about the way that the administration handles things that they have that they're dealing with. Maybe it's an issue that they have where they're concerns about teachers. But we are not interested at RAM in Region 8 of setting up a scenario where a student can just kind of pick and choose. Now, that's how we operate. So we won't allow students, if they if they enter E.O. Smith High School, they go there, for half a year, and then at the end of that first year, they say, we want to come to RAM next. We appreciate their interest, but that's not going to be something that we open up as an option. I can't say the same thing for other school districts. So E.O. Smith might not have the same feeling. E.O. Smith might allow a student to attend RAM for half a year or a full year or 2 years, and then ultimately make a decision to switch. That's ultimately up to E.O. Smith or Bolton. I will say that typically technical high school, I'm not technical high schools, agri-science centers like Lebanon or E.O. Smith, they usually won't allow kids to come in after their freshman year, but I don't know if they make exceptions. So I don't know if that answers your question, but for us, we wouldn't allow that. Other schools might allow it.
Okay. That makes sense. Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other, Liz, you had a question, I think?
Yeah. 2 questions. What is going on here? The magnet school tuition, you said it's reducing. How do you know that? That's part one of my question. Then my second question is, how do you come to the calculation that you come to for other students outside of our district for this?
Well, it's not a perfect science, Liz, is what I would say to you. Is it's what we anticipate. So where we are right now there is the state of Connecticut instituted a cap for magnet school tuition, which basically was, hey, school districts in Connecticut, if you're paying for students that reside in your district to attend magnet schools, we've historically paid 100% of that tuition. For magnet and agri-science tuition. The state a couple of years ago said, hey, we're going to create a cap, and that cap is going to be 58% of what the 100% tuition is, and the state was going to provide additional funding to offset that cost. So districts would be responsible for 58% of the tuition, and then the state was going to pick up the rest. Right now, this is in a bit of a state of flux. And what I mean by that is the governor's proposed budget has a reduction to magnet school funding for RESCs of approximately $12 million. So we don't know if that dollar amount of the cap is going to change for us. We could find ourselves in a situation where that number doesn't stay at 160, maybe to $160,000 to the good. In future years, we might need to budget more for magnet school tuition because of the reduction in money that has been allocated to reduce the burden of magnet and agri-science tuition on local and regional school districts. But again, we look at the number of students we currently have attending magnet schools, and we anticipate that they're going to continue to attend magnet schools. And then as far as sixth graders that are rising up out of our sending districts, we put placeholders in place. And we say, we have X number of students typically that identify magnet schools instead of coming to RAM. And so we're going to anticipate that we're going to get a similar number. That's what I mean by it's not a perfect science. There's a bit of anticipation or based off of data that historical data that we have to make well-educated decisions moving forward.
Okay. And for the out of district children that decide to go to RAM, how is that tuition calculated?
What do you mean by out of district students that choose to go to RAM?
You said like for Columbia students choosing to go to school.
It's a great question. So we basically budgeted for 10 students. So we did the same thing last year. We anticipated 10 students would identify RAM as their school of choice for this first year. And we just use that same number of students for this second year as well. What I could say to you, Liz, and everybody on this call is that we are very optimistic that E.O. Smith has long been the primary school of choice for students leaving Horace Porter School at the end of 8th grade. The majority of their students choose to go there. On average, 1 or 2 students choose Bolton High School, which is one of their schools of choice. And they generally graduate about 40 8th graders, or, generally have 40 8th graders matriculate into high school. Again, 1 or 2 will typically choose Bolton because Bolton is a very different school experience. It's a very small school, very intimate. It's just a different type of high school experience. The majority of students choose E.O. Smith High School. And where our position on this is that for a whole host of reasons, we are very optimistic that as time goes on and as this partnership continues over time, we feel like more students from Columbia are going to start identifying Rams. So we're saying 10 this year, we're saying 10 next year, we're hoping it might be 12, we're hoping it might be 13. But right now, we have a lot of students that are leaving Horace Porter School who might have older siblings or friends that are older that have experienced being in E.O. Smith. So they're saying to themselves, well, my friend or my brother or my sister went to E.O. Smith, so that's just where I'm going to go as well. But we have a really strong partnership with Columbia in a lot of ways. Number one, Columbia students, for the most part, participate in youth sports and parks and recreation, or youth sports associated with Ram Youth Football, Ram Youth Lacrosse, soccer, Hammer, which is our softball team. Columbia kids participate in those programs much more so than they do with other town programs. Proximity-wise, the commute from Columbia, the bus ride from Columbia, from Horace Porter School to Ram is probably 15-ish minutes. The bus ride from Horace Porter School to E.O. Smith is 45 minutes. And the practicality of families being able to know that their kids are only on the bus for 15 minutes in the morning, 15 minutes in the afternoon is a lot greater. And then obviously when students get their licenses in high school, their commute is a lot shorter. So we're very optimistic that over time, as this partnership grows and develops, that we're going to see more and more students choosing RAM. So we're hoping that, that projected number that we have this year, again, of 10, maybe next year it's going to be 12, maybe it's going to be 13, maybe it's going to be 14. It really is going to depend on kind of what we're seeing and hearing from.
So my question was more about how do you come up with the tuition? So it's looking like $15,000 a student.
Sure. I apologize. I misunderstood your question.
Okay. No, it's good information. I appreciate the discussion.
It's a great question. So basically, what we did was when we initially established the partnership, we identified the tuition rate, and don't quote me on the number, Liz, because I don't have it in front of me, but it was somewhere in the neighborhood of $15,000 and change for tuition. Like, so $15,000, I think it might be $142. So that was the annual base tuition cost for a student from Columbia to attend RAM. Where we landed on that number, why we landed on that number, is we needed to be competitive with E.O. Smith. If my conversations with the leadership of Columbia was that their tuition with E.O. Smith was, I'm making it up, $15,000, and then I said to Columbia administration and Board of Education, well, our tuition is going to be $17,000. Columbia would have said, well, we don't want to partner with you, because we don't want to have that financial risk of tacking on an additional, $2,000 for every student that identifies RAM as their school of choice. So we identified that rate of 15,000 and change, and again, I think it was 142, because it was very similar to what E.O. Smith was charging for their tuition. And where we have the increase is that there's language in the contract that we have with Columbia that basically says that we're going to apply a formula that is associated with what the consumer price index is for increases from one year to the next. So we're going to have our increases with RAM tuition or Region 8 tuition for Columbia students directly associated with the consumer price index increase that happens year to year. Does that make sense?
It does. One more question. This is a quick one.
Go for it.
And does this tuition come from the town or does it come from the parents?
It's a great question. It comes from the town.
Okay.
So what we do is Columbia provides transportation. So there's no transportation costs to RAM associated with transporting Horace Porter School or Columbia students to us. The other thing that I'll mention to you, Liz, that I didn't say was that if a student chooses RAM who might receive special education services, or any type of pupil services, there's additional costs associated with them. So that dollar amount that of $15,000 in change is the base tuition costs. And we actually have kind of like essentially a menu of like, if a student gets X, then it costs this much more. If they get this, it costs this much more. If they get this, it costs this much more. So there's the tuition price that the $157.29 that you see in front of you, we don't factor in those additional the additional revenue that might come if 3 or 4 of the students that choose to come to RAM get specialized services. That's just additional income that's not reflected in our anticipated revenue.
Great. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. All right, I guess we're...
Colin, before you move on, I just
Please.
asked the 2 chairs, and I apologize. I was so focused early on making sure I can share the 2 documents. I did not start the recording on this. You probably didn't hear it. Is this more of a workshop or is this a required recorded meeting?
I think it should be recorded.
Okay. And I think the other platform is recording this anyway, so I'll start
Recording
now.
in progress.
I should have picked up on that myself.
Recording stopped.
Well, why did it stop?
Why stop?
I don't know.
It happens.
It's
Recording in progress.
Yeah.
We're good?
Yep.
Now the pressure's on me because we're being recorded, so I feel a little bit extra pressure. So I get a little shaky voice. Please forgive me. So one of the things that I wanted to talk about is just targeted reductions, because I think it's really important to point out that the proposed budget that I'm discussing with you already reflects the removal of approximately $800,000 from items, personnel, equipment, services that had initially been requested from budget owners. So they include things like equipment, furniture, and facilities maintenance and upgrades. We moved some to a lease package. Other things will be included in future budgets. We reduced our summer school credit recovery staffing. We reduced the number of 6 assignments that we have. And we eliminated 4 positions. So high school business teacher that was going to be vacated at the end of the school year, a special education paraeducator, a hallway monitor paraeducator, and a library media paraeducator. So again, in totality, the things that we have removed already from the budget total approximately $800,000. If we hadn't done that, the increase that I would have presented to the Board of Education back in January and that I'd be discussing with you tonight would be a 7.42% increase over the current year's budget. I just think that's a really important context for people to have as we move forward through this process.
Can you explain what the reduction of the 6th assignments is?
It's a great question. Yeah, that's so essentially at the secondary level, the way that it works with regards to what teachers are required per contract to teach is generally they teach 5 sections or 5 classes over the course of the day, right? One class or one of those additional periods is a lunch. One of those periods might be a prep, the ones that they're not teaching, I should say. And then another one might be a collaborative time or some other duty assigned to them. But essentially, basically, secondary teachers are expected to teach 5 classes over the course of a school day. Sometimes, though, it is necessary for us to say to an individual teacher who is contractually obligated to teach 5 classes in a day, hey, we need you to teach a 6th assignment or a sixth class. And with that comes additional compensation. And so, again, when I talk about a reduction of 6 assignments, we look at, okay, hey, this teacher currently, or this teacher was, has historically taught a 6 assignment or is teaching a 6 assignment this year, but next year we're not going to have them teach that 6 assignment. Does that make sense, Liz? Great.
Yep,
Okay.
that's perfect. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Any other questions about that? Liz, the only thing I'll say to that, and actually to the collective group, the reason that 6 assignments are a useful tool for us is because it enables us to make sure that we have a wide array of course offerings for students without having to take on additional staff. It's really difficult, as you can imagine, to hire people at a hey, we need to hire you, but we just need to hire you for 1 class. Or, hey, we need to hire you, but we just need to hire you to teach 2 classes. It is financially unwise to do that. It is much better to do 6 assignments. But again, when we can reduce them, we try to reduce them. If we could go to the next slide, please, it would be great. Thank you. So our capital budget is obviously different from our operating budget. As I said, it's a $500,000 budget proposal for next year. It enables us to address timely issues that need to be addressed. I have a couple of photos on this slide for you. These are photos that I shared with the board last spring. They are of our loading dock. And as you can see, it is in rough shape. We need to replace our loading dock because it is literally falling apart. Our anticipated cost is about $425,000 for our loading dock. We have also catch basins that need to be either rebuilt or replaced to the tune of approximately $58,000. And then the other important thing is approximately $21,000 for repainting of pavement marking. Basically, that's parking lots, access roads, the paint that identifies parking spaces, that identifies no parking areas, has faded significantly, and it's a safety issue for us and students and staff and visitors that we get those repainted. In order to keep it right at $500,000, which is what we have historically tried to do, at least in the past 3 years that I've been in the district going through the budget process, is we really shoot for a $500,000 capital budget because we constantly have needs that need to be addressed. One of the things that we historically include in our capital budget is approximately $40,000 to address sidewalk repairs that need to be done on an ongoing basis. We have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of feet of concrete sidewalks. We actually took that out of the capital budget for next year, and actually just are going to allocate money from this year's budget to pay for those things. But our capital budget, again, for next year is $500,000.
Colin,
yes,
something like the loading dock. Are you going out to RFP on that?
So I think that there is, so in a typical world, yes, we would, but I think that there are companies that are on the state list that negate our need to go out to loading docks because, and obviously it's a significant financial savings for the district if we don't have to go out to RFP. If there is companies that are on a consortium list or a state list of vendors, then it saves us the time and the money of going out to bid. But again, the proposed amount of $425,000 came from a company that we have worked with and I think is on our state bid list, but I can confirm that and get back to you.
If you would.
Please.
Thanks.
Yep. I'm just going to make a note. So the next slide talks about our debt bond payment. And I'm really happy that we are in a good place from the standpoint of, this next year, fiscal year 27 is going to be the final year of paying our debt related to the renovation of campus that was done approximately 20 years ago. Our final payment of $418,000 is essentially the same as last year's. As our current year's payment. So it's really it's budget neutral. I do want to make sure that I do point out that we do have significant capital needs. Obviously, I talked about three things, the loading dock, the paint, and those catch basins. We have significant needs beyond that. We are very fortunate that our buildings and grounds have been well maintained and improved in many ways. It is imperative that we continue to ensure that the needs of our buildings and grounds are addressed in a time frame where we are not forced to play catch up, which is unfortunately something that a lot of schools and districts find themselves in that place. It's important to note that we are faced with numerous high cost projects in the very near future that will require bonding. So we have a facility subcommittee in the district, and we have worked closely with that facility subcommittee and district administration to prioritize bonding products, to include several of the things that you see in front of you. That list is not exclusive. It is not. There are other things that I did not identify, but things like roofing at both schools, HVAC systems and controls, our boilers and our chillers, life safety, security, and communication. So our alarm systems and our door access technology, flooring and stair treads, adding additional parking to the district because we don't have enough parking right now. So there's a whole host of things that we're looking at going out to bond for. We're currently working with an architectural firm, Fryer and Associates, to gain a better understanding of the financial impact of the capital projects that are going to need to be completed. Once this is done, we're going to have a special board meeting to discuss these projects in greater detail and develop a plan for moving forward. So again, I'm really happy that obviously we're going to be done with paying off our debt related to the renovation of the campus 20 some odd years ago. But we unfortunately are going to have to look at incurring more debt through the bonding process because we don't want to kick the can down the road and not maintain our facilities and major systems within our facilities because then it just creates a cycle of we're constantly playing catch up. Any questions about that? All right, I will move on to the next one then. So this is just a slide I always like to include. It's the per pupil expenditure for secondary regional school districts in the state. So we've certainly increased from last year. However, we do continue to provide a high quality educational experience at a cost that is amongst the lowest in the state when compared to other regional school districts. So talk a little bit about enrollment on our next few slides. So we use NASDAQ to provide enrollment projections. This chart shows our October 1 enrollment from 2019-2020 school year to the current school year, as well as the projections through 2035, 2036 and beyond. The projections indicate that our enrollment will remain relatively stable over the next 10 years. Next slide, please.
Looking at about a 2% decrease this time from this year to next.
I'm sorry, say again.
If I'm reading it right, you're looking at about a 2% drop. Your estimate.
I didn't calculate it, but if that's what you're getting, I'm not going to argue with you. But yes, we're seeing a decrease to from our current year to next year.
All right.
Where was the data?
And, one other question on your per pupil chart. I noticed it's done, I think the 24-25 years, the last one on there. Is that it just takes a while to calculate the current?
Correct. The 25-26 won't be available until next year. So it's always a year lag, unfortunately.
All right. Just checking.
Yep.
Okay. That one. Where was that data from? What was it called? You said NASDAQ.
So it's the New England School something council. So we have an affiliation with them. We send our current student enrollment information. Andover, so Hebron and Marlborough also send their information to NASDAQ as well, which gives them projections. Andover does not does not have that affiliation with NASDAQ. So what we do with Andover is Andover provides the information to us. We then send it to NASDAQ, and then as a part of our enrollment projections, we get them back from NASDAQ.
Okay, so if I'm looking at the data that you have online, you had, as of October 1st, 2025, 1,021 students. So that relates to your yellow line there, which is 1,019. So
yes,
the NASDAQ information was 2 students off. So that's pretty good. All right. If you can also provide that to Jim, like the details regarding NASDAQ, that would be great.
I can send the whole report.
Oh, perfect. Thank you. Colin, you're excellent. Thank you.
I try. Thank you.
All right.
All right. If we want to go on to the next one. So this just shows the middle school projections were slated to increase by approximately 50 students over the next 10 years at the middle school. If we want to go to the next slide, please. So this shows high school projections, current enrollment and projections. One of the things, again, we're slated to remain relatively stable over the next 10 years at the high school as well. The one thing that I will note is that the projections do not factor in the tuition students from Columbia. And as I said before, we are optimistic that as our partnership grows and develops with Columbia, we're going to continue to be a pretty attractive school district to them and for their 8th grade students and draw more interest from Columbia families. If we want to go to the next one, it'd be great. So as a part of the projections that are provided to us is we have, we get across the board pre-K to grade 6 enrollment projections. And as you can see, they are projected to remain relatively stable over the next 10 years across all of our 3 towns that feed into Region 8. If we could go to the next slide, please. So, as I noted earlier, the proposed budget does eliminate 4 full-time positions. However, it does include the addition, the current proposed budget does include the addition of 2 new positions that I feel are necessary to address current needs of the district. The first is a buildings and ground maintainer, which is a 1.0 FTE. The facilities department that we have currently has 1 outdoor maintainer responsible for all grounds across our 52-acre campus, including parking lots, common areas, and 10 acres of athletic fields. So these fields require mowing multiple times per week, painting, seeding, fertilizing, along with year-round exterior maintenance. As our campus and maintenance demands continue to grow, this work can no longer be sustained by a single individual. Adding a building and grounds maintainer would provide consistent coverage, reduce the need to pull custodial staff from their core duties, and ensure that our buildings and grounds are properly maintained year-round. This position would also be able to support interior maintenance needs during the winter seasons to improve safety, efficiency, and overall care of the district facilities. So the second position that had been proposed in the initial budget to the board is an instructional technology specialist coach. So I'm sure that you all are not going to be surprised that technology is woven into pretty much every part of the school day for students and staff, from instruction to assessment to communication, data analysis. And as these tools continue to grow and change, we really need to have consistent, high-quality support to ensure that technology is being used effectively to enhance teaching and learning. At the same time, again, I don't think I'm going to surprise anybody by saying that artificial intelligence is rapidly changing how we learn, students learn, work, and think in the future. Colleges and employers are now expecting graduates to understand artificial intelligence and use it responsibly and ethically. I feel that creating an instructional technology coach or specialist would provide dedicated in-house expertise to support teachers and students with technology, digital citizenship, academic integrity, and ethical AI use. This full-time position would add significant value across the entire district and better prepare our students for what comes next, whatever that will be. And, I always like to give the disclaimer that it's really important to note that the needs of staff of students can shift significantly, and that we may need to hire additional staff unbudgeted to adequately meet student needs. But those are the personnel additions that we're looking at currently. If we go to the next slide. So there are some potential changes that could impact our proposed budget and lead to possible changes again over the next few months. So as I said earlier, health insurance premiums, currently we're budgeted for 15%. That may change. I'm sure that you will hear about that from your town and your local superintendent as things change, but that could impact our budget. As I said earlier, our Columbia students, currently, we have anticipated revenue of $312,764 for next year, based off of the current students that are attending from Columbia and the number that we anticipate choosing Columbia for next year as incoming ninth graders. They will identify their high school of choice really by the end of this month, and the budget will be adjusted accordingly. The other thing that I want to make sure I note is that since presenting the initial proposed administrative budget to the board on January 26th, the board, we had 2 workshops, budget workshops. These workshops provide an opportunity for each department budget to be discussed in greater detail and for board members to discuss the proposed budget and ask questions. At the conclusion of the February 9th budget workshop, the board did ask me to identify areas of our budget that we would be able to reduce the proposed amount by 2%. So as I said before, our initial proposal was a 4.77%, and the board basically tasked me with the responsibility of coming back to them with reductions that would get us to a 2.77% increase. There was a collective concern by board members that with the increases that are feeding districts, such as I think you guys are at 11% in Andover currently for the Board of Ed, that basically an 11% increase and a 4.77% increase would not go over very well with members of the Andover community. So I have been working with the administrative team to identify areas where we could propose reductions to the board. These recommendations will be made to the Region 8 board on Monday, February 23rd. So again, I don't know what the outcome of that meeting will be, but I do anticipate having some changes as a result of that meeting. Any questions about those 3 issues?
So the RAM Board of Ed asked you for an additional $700,000 in cuts.
Close to $700,000, yes.
Okay. Thank you.
On top of the $800,000 that I've already made.
Understood.
Any other questions? All right, if we can go to the next one. So I always think it's really important to highlight what I call, the return on investment. And, the community invests obviously a lot into RAM, middle school and high school. I feel like the district provides tremendous opportunities for our students. We have over 250 courses and 38 concurrent enrollment opportunities at high school. And what I mean by 38 concurrent enrollment opportunities, it means that when we have students taking classes at RAM High School, they are actually, many students there's 38 classes that we offer that allow them to earn college credit. It is not uncommon for me to hear from graduates and speak with graduates when they come back for whatever school event is taking place and tell me that, hey, Dr. McNamara, I'm graduating in 3.5 years from college. Or, hey, Dr. McNamara, I just talked to a student right before the winter holiday. Hey, he said something about graduating. And I said, well, wait a second, you've only been in school for, 2 years. How can you be talking about graduating in 3? He's like, I got so many college credits in high school. I'm graduating in 3 years. So, as the father of 2 college age students, I would have very much appreciated them having the opportunity to earn a year's worth of college credits, because college is not cheap. So, again, significant return on investment. We have, students that are performing at very high levels. 356 students are taking AP tests, or 356 AP tests are taken. And we have students, 96% of our students are scoring at a level 3, 4, or 5. We have current 8th grade students who are earning 300 high school credits, which again enables them to take more diverse classes as high school students, which it also enables them to, again, earn those college credits when in high school. So we just, there's a lot of really things going on. If we can go to the next one, please, it would be great. We provide a tremendous amount of positive experiences for students beyond academic achievement. We've been recognized as the best community for music education for 9 consecutive years. We offer a wide variety of fine and performing arts programs and classes that enable our students to achieve at high levels and be recognized statewide and nationally for their hard work. So yes, academics is obviously a critical thing for us. But we do more than just academics. We know that students come to school and want to do more than just take classes and be successful academically. And the next slide actually continues to demonstrate that, because, we also offer plenty of opportunities for students to demonstrate their skills and excel as student athletes. We have 13 middle school teams. We have 31 high school teams. Students have tremendous success on our competition fields and our basketball courts and our tracks. Student athletes earn individual acclaim as all-state, all-conference, and triple threat athletes. Triple threat means they are 3 sport athletes, so they do a fall sport, a winter sport, and a spring sport as well. So again, tremendous success. If we can go to the next slide, please. So, I'll just close in saying, the budget represents a collaborative months-long effort by district leadership and staff to balance our responsibility of maintaining high standards of excellence expected by the RAM community. It's designed to offer the public a transparent view of our strategic priorities in educational programming. I think I speak on behalf of the leadership team and the entire district when I say that we are grateful to the families and the communities of Hebron, Andover, and Marlboro for their continued partnership in helping us prepare students to become, impactful and members of a global society. I know I've answered questions along the way, but that concludes my presentation, and I can do the best that I can to answer any additional questions that you all might have for me.
Thanks, Colin, for that. Anyone have any further questions on the presentation?
No, thank you very much for the information, and anything that you can provide us to give to our members as additional information would be appreciated. So thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll send the information over about the loading dock to y'all, and I will, whether or not we have to go out to bid or it's a part of it's under a state, under the state contract that doesn't require that. And then also just the NASDAQ report. I'm happy to provide that to you. I think those are the only 2 follow-up things that I have. If I'm missing anything, let me know. And what I would say as well is I know there's not questions now, and that's great because I'm going to go eat dinner. But if there are additional questions that come up, you could either funnel them to Jim and Jim can send them directly to me, or, certainly my email address is accessible on the district website. And then, as I said, Scott is a member of the Region 8 Board of Education, but also an Andover community member. Don't hesitate to reach out to him, and he will funnel the questions to me as well. I want to obviously make sure that everybody has as much information as possible. And I appreciate your time tonight.
Speaking of Scott, he's got his hand up. Scott, did you have something to throw in there informationally?
Yes, I'd like to offer a slight clarification. What the board asked Colin to do was not to give us a decrease of 2%, but to give us a whole bunch of scenarios of what, if we needed to cut, a 0.25% or 0.5% or whatever, up to say 2% from this budget, where would we do it? Just to make it clear that that's, he was not asked to go cut. He was asked to give us options.
Yeah, so if I didn't explain that correctly, Scott, thanks for bringing that to my attention. What I'm going to do on the 23rd is bring recommendations to the board in a priority order, and say, if there are some things that are what I would characterize as no brainers that like just easy because, a great example is I think when we had initially proposed our budget to the board, we had a number for fuel from Andover that was not locked in, right? So that and now I believe that Andover has locked in their fuel costs associated with busing, I believe. Now we have that number locked in. And so what I could tell you is that we're saving $636 by having a locked in fuel cost. So that's been added. So in totality, but the number that was again that at least I heard, Scott, was come to us with 2%. What would it look like if you were to recommend reductions equaling the amount of 2% of the overall increase to get it down to a 2.77? What would your recommendations be, and what would the priority be? So that's what I'm going to be prepared to do with the board. Trying to be a good partner for everybody.
And and you're muted.
Yes. I just was looking at the cost per pupil expenditure. And I'm not sure if I'm doing it right, but if you divide the total budget and this proposed 26-27 budget by the number of students, it comes out to over 34,000 per student instead of what it was in the 24-25 year of only 27. That's a pretty big increase there.
Is there some complication to how that figure is calculated, Colin?
That's what I'm wondering.
So if I could understand how that number is calculated, I would probably be a wealthy person because I could predict stock market values. So it's based off of a state formula that I not to sound flip, but I don't necessarily completely understand. So that number, it's provided by the state. I'm happy to send that information over because it's not just information that's provided by the state specific to Region 8. It's also provided for every school district in the state of Connecticut. So I could it's a publicly available document on the state website that provides it's called the net current expenditures per pupil. So I use NCEP. I use the term per pupil expenditure because it's what it is. But it's not a real number, because the reason I say that is because it doesn't factor in. Remember how when I talked about the cost of education for students for Columbia, we have a base tuition price, and then we have additional costs for things like special education related services, things like that, right? So there are students that attend RAM who don't get those types of services and or who don't ride the bus to school. But transportation is factored in across the board for every student. The total cost of special education for the entire district is averaged out across our total membership, but it's not a real number. It's based off of a state formula. And one of the reasons that I think I've survived for 20 plus years as a school district leader in the state of Connecticut is I try not to put too much weight in what the state provides to us, just because I think I would lose my mind if I tried to understand state formulas for things. So, but again, Ann, it's not a real number. I'll make a note to send you all with that list of it's a spreadsheet that shows the NCEP.
I think I found it while you were talking. If I'm looking at the right document, there's an Excel version and a PDF version, and you're saying it's the NCEP number that you're going off of?
Correct.
Right, and they have Region 8 here.
Might be a little bit different because they updated
very close, but it's 27,180.
I think they update it twice in the year, so it may have changed from when I initially had provided that information.
And if you go and you look this up, if you plug that into a Google search, it does come right up. Net current expenditures per pupil CT. You'll get the portal, and on that portal, if you go to forms, documents, and forms, there's an opportunity to download either a PDF version or an Excel version of this document. Andover's on there too. You can see AES on there as well.
Yep.
You know, they have them at, I think, 24,722. So as a point of comparison, obviously elementary school versus regional middle high, but it's got all the towns there.
Yep.
But yeah, I always understood, and the reason I asked you, Colin, is I always understood that to be a bit of a black box. Some stuff going on under the hood I don't think I understand. So it's difficult to explain. For me to try to explain that to a community member, I guess we were hoping.
Well, it's a legitimate question that I wish I could provide some clarity on. What I could tell you is that when somebody, or I think Liz, you had asked about, how did you guys establish the the base tuition rate for Columbia students? We tried to look at what that NCEP was, that per pupil expenditure for regional school district 8 students. But we, like I said, if I went to Columbia and said, hey, we're going to use $27,000 as your base tuition price, they would have said, okay, we have zero interest in that. Like, we're not going to do it. But that is inclusive of special education costs, transportation costs, which again, that doesn't apply unilaterally to every Columbia student. It applies to some. And in the same regard, that those costs don't apply to every RAM student either, right? And any student in Hebron, Andover, and Marlboro. So the same idea applies. It's that dollar amount is not. It's just not a real number for every single person. Because to be honest with you, there are students who are attending an out-of-state special education outplacement program that might cost $65,000 a year between tuition and transportation. So $27,000 isn't a real number for them either. It goes on it can go on the low side and it can go on the extreme high side. And unfortunately, though, it's a mislead. I use it because it's, for as much as it's misleading for us, it's also misleading for other districts, right? So it's what I have as a comparison to demonstrate that we're still amongst the lowest in the state, right? And that number is going to change if we see decreasing enrollment over time. The amount of money to run the district, if we lose 50 students or gain 50 students over the next 10 years, that number, we still have to heat the building, pay for buses, 50 student difference in one direction or the other is not going to have a substantial increase on our staffing. It's not going to have a substantial or change to really much of anything. It's the challenge of a secondary school district. Whereas if you look at student enrollment at an elementary school district where you say, hey, our incoming kindergarten class is 15 students smaller than our current kindergarten class or larger, well, that's going to impact an elementary district because you're either going to have to increase your kindergarten staffing or potentially decrease your kindergarten staffing. It doesn't work that way with a secondary district. It just doesn't, so I don't know if that helps or hurts or confuses, but I can't provide much more clarity than on that number.
Well, I guess what I would say is my takeaway from this is, as a rough benchmark, it's there.
Yeah.
But don't read into it all that deeply because it can be a little misleading maybe. That's my takeaway from it. But thank you for pointing at it so I could find it myself. That was helpful.
Sure.
I have one more question too that just popped up. Do you know of any grants for renovations to school buildings?
So that's a great question. So one of the things that I could say to you is that as a part of the process that we're going through with regards to the bonding process, the group that we're working with, Fryer and Associates, they do a lot of work with school districts and municipalities. And so there is, I don't know if I wouldn't say they're necessarily grants, but there are reimbursements that are provided for certain projects. And we're going to work with Fryer and Associates, when we talk about, projects that we need to go out to bonding for, as I mentioned, roofs are something that qualifies for a certain, state reimbursement and a certain percentage and a certain amount. So we work with groups like that to identify areas where, hey, we need to do this, but by doing this, we qualify for certain state reimbursements, and that enables us to reduce the impact on our member towns. There are certainly things for us to get state grants for from time to time. They pop up from time to time. I think it was about 2 years ago, we were awarded, I think it was close to $300,000 in grants for indoor air quality grants that were available to local school districts. We had done some HVAC work to some of the different areas of our building. And then the indoor air quality grants came into existence, and we spent some time applying for those grants, and that helped us out to the tune of, again, approximately $300,000. So anytime there is an opportunity for us to seek state funding or any type of grant funding for projects that we either have done and we can retroactively apply for, or apply for in advance, we always seek those opportunities and go for those funds.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Hearing none, I'm inclined to let you go, sir. Get yourself some dinner.
I appreciate it very much. Thanks, guys, for your time. Again, if any questions pop up, don't hesitate to reach out, and have a good rest of your evening, okay?
Thank you.
Thank you, Colin.
Take care.
Thank you.
All right. Well, we'll have to see what the outcome is of further deliberation by the RAM board. So, having gotten through that, I would just like to ask, in a sense of where are we at on the town side? How firm are we feeling? I haven't had a chance to go through line by line the preliminary document that Lisa sent around. But if we could get some info on that, that would be good. What our thinking is in terms of how firm these numbers are, what still needs to be addressed, and so forth.
Jim, why don't you pull that down for a second so we can just talk?
Yeah, it's right here. Yeah.
There we go.
Oop, it was there.
It was there. So they are very preliminary because we've had so much going on, Rob, that we have not had a chance, especially with the town administrator. Jim is actually leaving a week from Thursday, a week from tomorrow, right, Jim? That's your last day. Lisa has just gotten engaged and built the spreadsheet that we currently have. So they are preliminary. I know that I was looking at some of the things today. We have to go through some of the union contracts because I'm not sure that every one of those increases is exactly where it's supposed to be. So I would tell you from my end, as only one member of the Board of Selectmen, I don't sit there and see that we're significantly going to increase our prior year budget. I would say that we have some things that we have to discuss that we potentially should do. I believe we should sit there and spend some additional funding on the community center. We should buy them a computer program and do some things to improve the services that we provide to our seniors and to families. So those are things that I would like to see done. But listen, our role as the Board of Selectmen, as we get this, is as policy. Your role in the Board of Finance is do we have enough money to support the things that we'd like to sit there and see done? Right. So your board's not the policy board. Your board's the board that sits there and says, this is all the money you're going to get to spend. And hopefully we can work together to not increase the total cost to the taxpayers too significantly.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So just looking at this chart on the total, there's a line called total expenditures town.
Mm-hmm.
And it's showing of an increase of variance 136,209, but the percent change is listed as 0. I'm assuming that's a formula error.
Mm-hmm.
That'll get cleaned up.
We'll fix that. The current structure of what is listed here for you guys, what you really control the money for, because even though we got the presentation from RAM, that is just strictly a vote of the 3 towns.
Yep.
So, right, that's their number is 4,260,000 or 4,260,000. That was what they were dealt with last year. So right now we're at $3,305,892, which is 35% of the total expenditure, and the capital that is currently listed on there is $1,028,750, or 10.94% of the town. That's how you look at the town. So really 46% town, 54% AES. And those numbers are listed there, but we have to go through those line by line because all of the percentage changes on the increases, some of those aren't going to happen. Some of those need to be modified. We will sit there and get that to you. And by the time you get this next week, you'll have a much better feel for what we're going to do. But again, unless somebody sits there and tells me, I mean, listen, you guys are going to have a difficult year. We're going to have a difficult year. You're going to have a difficult year. It's a big number. We're going to try to do our part from the town side to sit there and be respectful and sit there and have a number that makes sense. So
I understand that. I was just trying to take a look at it, see where it was now. And you already got to my next question, which is you're saying we're going to get something updated next week. That's good. Mm-hmm. I assume we're targeting to have that. So for our next meeting, we'll have something firmer. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Can I just say something?
Please.
Absolutely. You're the treasurer.
Yes, that was on purpose for that formula, because your formula is coming down and going across need to be, double checked and everything. So that was on purpose. If you add up all those percentages, that's not the percentage that would be going across. So I was waiting to do that. I just wanted to say a couple quick things. The worksheets we send out to the departments will be more explanatory next year for the departments. I think they're weak. So we'll have more data next year. I arrived, right at budget time, so it was a little tough. I also wanted to say, in some of these increases, some of them are a little more than others. Departments did send some explanations. I don't know if you want to see some of those explanations. They're just saying why some of the lines increased. A few of them went up higher than others, like the programming for the seniors. Some of them wrote a little bit of a script with it. I tried to put it in the memo over there. I'm still working on moving that memo column over a little bit. And there's forecasted items in there. That's your choice. I'm here to help you. I forecasted some of the electric because some of them, their budget from last year isn't half spent yet. So I just kind of forecasted. It's up to you if you want me to increase that and just increase it 3% or just leave it the same. The same with your revenue. Your revenues are left the same as last year because that's your decision to tell me, do I leave it that way? Do you predict this is what's going to happen for your revenue? So, I'm looking for direction from you at this time. Okay.
If memory serves, in the past, I think we have done at least a little bit of revenue projection, but I can't recall. I don't think we did anything very aggressive with that. I think we're generally not. I mean, unless we're doing it, unless we're in a reval year, we're not going to expect a big change, I think, to revenue.
Okay.
That would be my take. I personally would like obviously you don't want to have the spreadsheet be totally overrun with this, but if there are little blurbs that explain substantial ups and downs in departmental budgets, I personally would like them. In the past, my recollection is some departments would come and present to the Board of Finance. Public Works would come, Fire Department would come. I don't know what our timing looks like on trying to do some of that stuff this year, but if we're not getting that, then I think it's all the more important to get whatever they've given in justification, even if it's just a few lines of saying, hey, we're asking for 5% increase and here are 3 bullet points of why. That's better than nothing.
I think it's really important for the Board of Finance to get the department heads in. So I would recommend that Eric from the Department of Public Works comes in front of the board, even if he's just put in for the first 15 to 20 minutes of a meeting for you, Rob, just because it's good to have the community hear directly from him so they understand this is Public Works, this is who's running it, and this is the requests that are being made. So if you put the schedule together, we'll sit there and we should just ask each one of the individuals to come.
Yeah, I mean, my gut reaction is, we got a meeting on March 11th that might be good for that. If we can get some of the department heads in for that, that might be a good.
And Carol, you do know that this is a joint meeting. You can talk at any time.
Okay, I didn't want to interrupt. I was just raising my hand to be polite. Okay,
I apologize for not seeing it, Carol.
It is okay. Jeff is just picking on me. I just have a question. Jeff, is the admin assistant, I see that line jumped. Is that what the Board of Selectmen was discussing with giving the town administrator a 20-hour-a-week admin assistant?
It was there. You have to remember that last year Eric had $15,000 that he wanted to do for project manager.
That's still there, but
that's
I'm
still there. And now the administrative assistant is there. That is something that we have to discuss as to what we're going to do with those line items and what we want to do. That's one of those items, Carol, that we need to discuss.
Okay, I just saw that it was up by 194.17% on that variance. With the salary line, there's an additional 10,000 there. That's why I'm asking. I do see the project manager, which we didn't touch that budget last year, but we're putting in another 15 in this year.
Well, we have to sit there and go through it. I mean, we have Christine Randazzo that has been working with us related to the field, and that's what Eric was trying to. Eric was trying to sit there and get some compensation for her so she could do that and he could do the bridges and the other projects. But obviously without Eric here, some of this has changed and we haven't really made a push to use those dollars. So we have to, as a board, go back and provide back to the Board of Finance more refined numbers on some of these items. And Carol, also, we have to decide the percentage. We use 3% as a rate change on compensation, but we have to decide what we're doing on each one of those lines.
Right, and see what the union contracts say.
Correct.
Are the actual raises.
Yep.
But we really haven't had a lot of time to look at these.
No, there's been a little bit going on.
There's been a lot going on, I understand. So,
in terms of scheduling, since we're talking about scheduling, I was trying to set up the AAS presentation to us, and I was wondering what people thought about our next meeting, the 25th, the Board of Finance meeting starting at 7 after our joint session, whether we want to do it to target that, because I think that date could work for the superintendent to present AAS to us.
You're saying next Wednesday?
Yeah.
Oh, I think
because
that'd be fabulous.
The reason I was looking at it, sorry, just to I don't apologize for cutting you off, is I should have explained this up front. I asked about the 11th, March 11th, but that's a regular Board of Ed meeting. So I said, I don't want to go to the 18th, the March 18th. Man, we're getting.
Oh, that's too late.
I'm starting to worry, right? So I asked Val and Caitlin, could we do the 25th? And I think that is viable for them. So I wanted to get people's take on it.
Because you do know you have to hold a public hearing, and they set the annual town budget meeting for, I believe, April 9th, Jeff?
That sounds right. I have it all on my phone.
So you have to plan for that public hearing too, to present your finalized budget.
Yeah.
And, if you hold it the last week in March, the Wednesday before we're having the annual town budget meeting, that doesn't give you many weeks in between.
It does not.
No.
Here's the other problem, right? Louise, you're going to be away next week, and so is Bill.
Yeah. That's
so that
downside. That's why I wanted to bring this up. But I'm looking at the schedule and I'm getting pretty nervous.
Is there any type of voting going on in that particular meeting?
I mean, we don't have to take. Well, first of all, as you know, this is a ongoing discussion, but my thought was we'd want to get a presentation and digest it.
Okay.
But that's me speaking. You guys can have your opinions, but yes, ideally I would not have it at a meeting where you and Bill are out.
Okay.
That would be my first choice. But if we get the presentation, maybe you guys could watch it, and then we could on our March 11th meeting, talk about it further. That's all I'm thinking about. I'm just looking at the calendar here, and I'm trying to find a date. And it gets tight fast. It is indeed April 8th. At least that's what I did on my phone for the town budget meeting, which means April 1st would be the informational Board of Finance presentation, for public comment.
Public hearing. Okay.
Robert, we moved it to the 9th on Thursday.
Did we?
Avoid the Board of Education meeting.
I see. Okay.
It's still listed. It's still listed on the town calendar as the 8th, but it has been moved to the 9th to avoid a conflict with the Board of Education.
All right. Well, I'll move that in my phone then, just because I don't want to get messed up. All right. Well, the point being is just looking at the weeks. The week prior to that's going to be our informational session, at which point I would certainly hope we had a working plan. So, that gives us basically, this month and next to sort this out. So that's the reason I brought up the 25th. I know it's tight. I know we have members not going to make the meeting. The 11th being a Board of Ed meeting is, the other option I guess we could look at is seeing if we could do something on the 12th. Move our meeting.
10th or 12th.
Yeah. Something that I guess would be the other option. If we want to see, we'd have to obviously canvass the board for availability, but if we're trying to avoid having this on a night when we're down 2 members, that would be
right.
That would be the thought. But the way I left it with Caitlin and Val was that I'd talk to you guys and get back to them. So any other thoughts? I mean, Nick, Heather, anybody else have availability issues like on any of these weeks? Can you think of anything that we should avoid?
I'm looking at my calendar. I'm pretty much free. The next week is fine. The 4th, the 10th, the 12th. I'm good for all of those.
Mm-hmm. I guess that's the other thing. I don't think we have anything scheduled for the 4th.
We don't, but I won't be here for the 4th.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which is suboptimal.
I mean, I won't be here. I'll be on a cruise ship, which I may or may not be able to call into. And
cruise ship Wi-Fi. I don't know if I'd be relying on.
Just saying.
I don't know. I understand. I do.
The timing is not good. Me, I don't like to miss meetings. So
I can, if people want me to, I can go back to Caitlin and Val and ask about the 12th. The 12th would work better than the 10th for me. But I can look at those dates.
Kim wanted,
if people want to
say something.
I do. I would like to just not have it on the 25th at all, so that we have everyone there. February 25th, is that the date that we were?
Yeah, that's next week.
And I would like to just either have it on March 10th or the 12th as well, just so we have everyone present on the Board of Finance. And I can make both of those dates. So whatever works.
All right. I'll reach back out. I'll see if we can make one of those dates work.
Yeah.
If we do, people agree that if we're doing it that week, we would move our currently scheduled special meeting to that other date and not double up. Is that, what do people want to do there? Right. I personally think if we already have, if we would move the meeting. Yeah. Okay. I'll look into it.
Okay.
Sorry, go ahead, Liz.
Yeah, I guess my only concern is if we felt we were able to recommend a change, that doesn't give them much time to do anything. It doesn't give us any time to look, doesn't really get us time to digest it either. I mean, there's not much to digest. We've seen the presentations.
Now and in between now and then, I guess, is really what it boils down to. And the presentation's nice, but the information's already out there. So,
So if they came on the 25th next week, it's recorded and everything, and we're not going to vote on anything, right? So,
well, again, I mean, it's a regular meeting. We could theoretically take votes, but on in relation to it. But my personal take would be, especially if we did it next week, what would give us some more time, is to get the presentation, ask questions, think about it, and come back with a full board. Because again, we're down 2 members,
right?
And come back at the next full meeting where we have everybody before we do anything further. But that would be my take if we do it that way. If we do it on, say, March 12th, picking one of the dates, then we hopefully would have a full board already there, and we might act accordingly. That's my gut.
Right, but like Liz says, that doesn't give them much time after.
It does not. It's not ideal. So that's why I looked at the 25th, even knowing we were going to be down people. But I completely understand. I really do understand the take that not with 2 people out. What's up, Luis?
I'm okay if we do it the 25th, and we can review it, but I just want to make sure that we can hold up on any type of voting until we're all present.
I think that's fair enough. I think that would be my preferred approach as well.
So we can get it over with, and then, we can all kind of watch it and then determine it afterwards.
All right. And then when we would have our meeting on the 11th, we could, we'd have everybody. Okay. I'm okay with that too. I'm fine with that. I can reach back out to Val and ask her to come for the 25th.
I assume Bill would be okay with that as well.
I think probably I could try texting him and see if I get an answer, but
yeah, I know he's out. Yeah.
I know it's not great. He was away for 2 weeks. So.
Okay.
I don't really feel bad for Bill. He's on a cruise ship enjoying the weather.
Yeah, well, we've got some lovely weather this evening here at home, huh?
Everyone's going on cruises. Not me.
Not me.
No. All right. So we also had gotten a request from AHM to come and talk to us. But I don't think, it was too late to get them in this meeting. So, and then I don't know if we want to tack them onto a meeting where we're already having AES. So my thought would be we maybe push AHM to March 11th, if that makes sense. Or, well, assuming we do March 11th, but yeah. Does anybody have thoughts on that? That's usually not a huge number, but.
We could probably have them come in first to get it over with, and probably won't take that long.
I don't expect it's usually an hour presentation or anything.
Right. Don't they usually ask 2 people from each town to come and vote on their budget? And do we know when that is?
Yeah, that's the thing, is I think that's still up in the air. Hang on. Let me find the most recent email because it's been kind of going back and forth. Goodness.
I actually did that last year.
Yeah.
And I'd be open to do that again. But I'd be voting after everyone decides.
Right.
Right. Oh, yes, there is. Historically, our meeting consists of 2 representatives from each town, typically a town manager, I think she means administrator, whatever, along with someone the town administrator designates from Board of Finance or Board of Selectmen. So here's another issue, a little wrinkle. Obviously, our interim town administrator is leaving. So we could designate, as the two boards are here, we could designate one person from each to be the AHM contact folks and try to set something up, and not try to have to link it up with one of our meetings necessarily.
Believe I was designated from the Board of Selectmen this year to be the contact for AHM, but I haven't really heard anything. I don't know if they did get my name. I tried contacting them.
Yeah, Teresa emailed Jeff and I and a few other folks CC'd, but didn't send it to the entire boards. So, I mean, Jeff's got it. He could hopefully send it around to the rest of the Board of Selectmen. And maybe we could coordinate. Anybody on the Board of Finance want to step up this year to be our AHM rep?
I'll do it again.
You want to do it again?
It's a very helpful organization.
They're great. They're great.
Yeah.
So no question there.
So
I mean, I
just as a side thing, they sent that meeting was scheduled for February 28th.
Oops.
Oh, this is 2025. I did a search on it, so
I've got correspondence here from them. I don't know if this is what you're talking about.
we'll get it to you, Ann. Usually Kate gets all that information and then Kate forwards it out, but we'll sit there and see where we're at with it.
Yeah, this one. There was an email this Tuesday in the morning from Tressa responding to me because her initial email had come out February 12th to Jeff and I. And I responded just kind of giving her our meeting dates because I wasn't quite sure what we wanted to do yet. And her response email was on Tuesday. But again, it's to Jeff and I with a couple of folks CC'd, but no other board members.
I am forwarding it to you right now, Ann.
Thank you.
Louise, I'm going to go ahead and forward this to you.
Okay.
I believe that's the most recent one. I don't see further. All right, so that's AHM. We've talked about AES presentation. I'll go back, and it sounds like we are going to try for the 25th. If for some reason that falls apart, I'll see about the 12th or something. But for now, yeah.
I'm sorry. Do we have a meeting on the 25th? Do we not have one the 4th?
We don't have one on the 4th, at least as far as I recall.
But we have one on the 11th.
We do.
Okay, I just have it backwards on my thing. That's fine. Thank you.
Did you?
Now
you got me
something
worried.
on my calendar on the 4th as well.
You do?
Maybe I'm wrong. Hold on.
I have a Board of Finance. I thought it was like one of our workshops. I could be wrong.
Yeah, it should be.
I didn't.
I mean, looking at it and how tight everything is, I kind of feel like there should be one. So let me. I don't know why I wouldn't have had that in my phone though, because I tried to plug them all in. So
I thought that's what I did, but maybe I did it wrong.
No, I'm looking. Hang on, I'm gonna double check now because it's probably my mistake.
I don't want to miss one by accident.
I don't see it on the town calendar.
Oh, the town
He has
calendar.
Zoom meetings set up for the 4th and I'll tell you in a second. March 4th, March 18th, she has BOF budget meeting.
Oh wait, sorry. The month. This is March. That's weird. Why isn't it coming up? Is it under only the boards and commissions page? Maybe it's there.
I think I got it from the very first meeting when you sent out the list of them. Mm-hmm. You can't find
it. I'm just looking at the town calendar right now, and I just don't see it.
You Yeah, I don't see it on the town calendar either.
Whereas our 11th, 18th, and 25th meetings are there.
Mhm.
Personally, you said you were going to be away, Liz, but
I'm going to be away.
I'm not
It's up to you.
opposed to having additional meetings if we have something to discuss, something to chew over. So,
right.
I'm trying to remember now. I mean, if we didn't do that, we probably didn't do it for a reason, and I just don't remember what it was that we wouldn't have picked the 4th. But yeah, it's not on there. Now, in terms of in the past, when we've had the fire department, and it's usually, I think, Wally who comes and talks to us. I can't recall how that was usually set up, whether the town administrator, whether Eric had set that up in the past, bring in, when we did these coordinated, bring in Public Works to talk to us, bring in fire department to talk to us, or whether it was something that Mark handled directly with those commissions.
I think Eric did everything.
I suspect that
and we're feeling it now. We're feeling it now.
Yeah. Because when did you say the last day was next Thursday?
Next Thursday. But if you want, I can get an email out to department heads for March 11th and get as many there as you. Are there particular ones you want?
Generally, Public Works, I think, is a good one to have.
Yeah.
The fire department, whenever, if they have a budget ready, we usually do them.
I think they do, Lisa. Let me ask a question. I don't know if Jeff, if this is not the right question. How do you folks handle regional services? I haven't had a chance to get them to Lisa yet, I don't think, because she's got a million other things she's been doing. But I've got on my desk, NECOG Animal Control, Eastern Highlands. They've all given me.
I have those, Jim. Those are in.
I did give them to you.
Yeah. Yep.
They would be. They're
in this budget already.
Yeah.
They're already.
Oh, good. Okay.
Yep.
I wasn't sure if I
Get
gave
the
them.
Manchester
Thank you.
probate estimate.
Yeah, we usually, I think, just have those plugged into our chart. Yeah.
Whatever I have, I've got is in there. Whatever Jim is talking, whatever has been given to me is in there.
We'll look
I'll
at
double check and make sure.
Probate one.
We always have to
the one for NECOG is in there related to animal control right now. It's something that we have to look at because they're trying, there's an increase in the animal control side of this, and all of those would be in there. And then hopefully what we can do is provide you the details related to it so you can at least look at it and then ask any questions. But for the most part, on those shared services, it would be, here's the bill that's being proposed.
Yep.
Are we willing to accept it, or do we have to go out and look for an alternative? And a lot of those shared services, it's really hard because it's something along the lines of animal control. And
Right.
we're not going to do those services
We're not in a
ourselves.
position to do that in-house. It's just,
So we've had communication with other towns related to that, and it's just something that if we can find a better deal, we would probably sit there and go with it. But what we should do is, in the comment section of Lisa's budget, is put, if there's a line item such as NECOG bill attached or NETOD bill available, we'll sit there and do that. And then, Carol, you can sit there and we can go through the probate court and say, here's the estimate and it's attached. So
that'll be helpful.
Yeah, that was the documentation I was talking about earlier. Whatever I put in there for this year, if it's a new figure, I have the backup. That's why I wondered if you wanted to see it.
Okay.
Can I just tell you what I used to do as far as bringing in all of these departments? My list of meetings does say the 4th, and the 11th of March, and I think I got this off the board page. But
I just found it is on November 19th board page.
Right, approval or whatever, because you would approve. And what we used to do is approve the budget calendar in December. The Board of Finance would, and every department would be listed. You'd have like 6 departments, 6 departments, 6 departments. And then they would have an assigned night that they would come in and speak to you about their budget. They could pass on it, or they would come in, and you're right, the fire department, public works, they have bigger budgets, but they were like assigned nights to come and talk to you because, you know, you have so many meetings, you'd have 6 one night, 6. And most of them are brief. It's not like the school, but that's how we used to get everybody in to talk about their budget. We would schedule them in. And if they couldn't make it that night, they would like let us know, well, that's the Mass Fire Chiefs Association. Can you make me another night? And you put them on a different night. So it was in the schedule. Like with this, it was in the schedule what department would be there that night. So that's just what we did in the past.
Great. All right. And if we've got a meeting on the 4th, well, that gives us a little extra wiggle room. So I'll plan on that. And if we can get, you know, for the 4th, we can get Public Works or some of these other folks in. Great. Well, Louise, what was that?
Yeah. I've been reading the letter that just sent over about the AHM, and apparently they already have their meeting February 10th. And I guess they had contacted Jim and no one had attended. So what they're looking for is the person that they can get up to speed. And I'd be happy to do that because I was the person from last year.
Yeah, you have continuity there.
All right. So let me do that. I'll get us up to speed and let everybody know, you know.
Lisa, I'm sending an email right now to her for both of us.
Oh, that would be great.
Okay. And then we can see what we can do.
Perfect. Thank you.
Great. Thank you both.
Did they give a presentation that was recorded? Did they say?
I don't think it was recorded. Last year, I don't think it was recorded, but we can find out. Ann, can you ask that in your email? Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. And maybe if we could get a copy of their budget for anybody that wants to look at it, because I'd kind of like to look at it. I'd like to know what we're getting out of it, how much utilization we're using out of it, and can we be maximizing them some way?
Mm-hmm.
Maximizing their services, you know, just have questions.
My recollection is the services have been utilized more heavily in recent years.
A lot.
In the past. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, any detail we can get would be great.
Okay.
I don't recall our contribution being a huge number.
It wasn't.
They do the birth to 3 services, which is always great. I don't know if it's birth to 5 now, but birth to 3 evaluations of kids, and they do a bunch of different stuff. And then they were doing a lot of mental health stuff, I think. If that serves Louise recently. But yeah, anything you can get us. Thank you for taking that on. I appreciate it. All right. So yeah, let's see if we can get some town departments in for the 4th and or 11th. See what we can do for availability there. Right now, everybody, I think, you know, take a look at, but understand what's been presented to us thus far is very preliminary. You know, it's going to, Board of Selectmen still has to go over it some more. Let's see. Oh, I had a question. I apologize to go back a meeting. Jeff, I had a question that I meant to ask you, you and Jim, the last meeting that we had, but Jim was under the weather that night and whatnot. And we ended up talking about other stuff and it flew out of my mind. There was something I saw in the administrator's report last meeting about some fraudulent check flags from M&T. Can you explain what happened there?
Sure. Every check that you send out, even as an individual, has the bank routing number and the account number on it. Yeah. And what scammers have been doing is taking the routing number and the account number and putting it on check stock and creating their own checks and then sending the checks out and signing them, and they get processed through the bank. And when you reconcile, you sit there and you find these things. So to be really honest, this is a really big problem for us right now. It's something that we're dealing with the bank. Lisa has been reconciling the bank account, and this weekend She identified some additional transactions that were not checks, that were ACH transactions. So we have been dealing with M&T on this issue related to, we're probably going to end up having to change our account, not for any reason that you're not going to get this to happen again, but just because I believe our numbers are circulating out there. So not only do we have the check issues, Rob, we have some ACH issues. So in an ACH transaction, someone outside from the bank is requesting to pull funds from our account. And the M&T Treasury Department is sitting there and should be flagging those and identifying those transactions and cutting them off right then and there. But we're now in the process, and Lisa has gone through Monday, Tuesday, trying to get the bank to sit there and identify that these are transactions that we have not requested be completed. So,
and as things stand, do we have a sense for what the financial impact of this is to the town?
Oh, it should be zero.
Okay, that's what I'm. Hopefully, right?
It's a nuisance. It is something that Lisa didn't sign up for. I mean, to be really honest, she sat there and identified. So listen, I'll just tell you, she's been completing the reconciliations on the accounts. And our account setup is a little interesting, but she is good. And over the weekend, she was doing January's reconciliation. So she's finishing the general account and reconciling for the month of January. And then she's sending information saying, Jeff, here are these transactions that are on our account. What do I do with these and what are they? And I'm like, those are fraud. So to be really honest, on Sunday, was it Sunday?
Yeah.
Was it Sunday? It was.
I think so. Yeah. Sunday I was there doing it. Yes.
It was Sunday. And because to me, it's a big deal. I was on the phone with the bank for 2 hours trying to get through their treasury and fraud department to sit there and just get it on record that we've identified these transactions and you need to deal with it. Well, the first time I was on for the hour, they hung up on me. And then the second time I was on for the hour, I got through and they said they couldn't do anything for us because if it was a credit card transaction, they could help me. But with it being an ACH transaction, they couldn't. So Jim returned from his trip and he communicated with M&T on Monday, and we're in the process of getting this resolved. But there should be zero financial consequence to the town because we didn't approve the transactions.
Right. Just checking. I mean, I didn't know if they weren't caught in a certain period of time where we could be up a creek. So that's why I asked.
And even the checks, if I understood this correctly, the checks were identified by M&T's fraud department.
That's what it said in the report. Yeah.
The ACH transactions were not.
We found those.
We found those.
Oh,
Lisa, we didn't find those. Lisa found those.
Lisa. Okay. Thank you, Lisa.
It looked rather strange.
I appreciate that rundown because it had been rattling around the back of my head since our last meeting.
And none of these should have any impact. None of these should have an impact on us.
Okay. That's good to hear.
Yeah. I can't promise you that, but we are working on it.
Yeah, we are.
Right. That's that last bit. You can't promise me that. That was working its way through my head, but hopefully we get through this and M&T is stand up about it and we end up owing nothing. But okay. Well, thank you for that rundown. That just had been bugging me. So, other than the things we've already discussed, the RAM presentation, the preliminary numbers that Lisa has sent around to us, do any of the members of the boards have anything else they want to bring forward tonight? We are at almost 2 hours in, so.
Are we going to discuss the email that we got?
You talked about the attorney opinion regarding roles and responsibilities to the budget. I personally wanted more time to read through it and digest it. I've read through it, but I've read through it and skimming it frantically about an hour ago, not an hour ago, an hour before our meeting started. And it's also my understanding that we may be getting an opinion from a Board of Ed attorney. So my thought is, why don't we talk about that either next time or on our March 4th meeting?
And it has to be on your agenda because this is a special
This
meeting.
is a special, yeah.
It's all
We have,
part of the
our
budget.
next meeting's a regular. Our next meeting's a regular meeting, so we can add, we delete to those, to that agenda as we will.
Yeah. You don't need to discuss that. You don't need to discuss that here tonight. You need to be aware of it. And I'm all for Shipman and Goodman sitting there and providing an opinion, in the town having to spend more money on that, because the lawyer that has written the educational law book is Shipman and Goodman. So let's go. So, I think that's interesting in and of itself, but read the opinion and then we can all discuss it. And I would also tell you one other thing. Go look at every other town and go look at the other towns and their Board of Finance and what they do. That's all you got to do. So let's go next time.
All right. Well, I think that's the right call, to give people some time to digest it. And, we have a meeting in a week and it's a regular meeting. So we can do what we want with the agenda right at the beginning of the meeting. Additions, deletions, etc. Given that we're 2 hours in, and I've kind of worked through my little list, if I hear nothing further from the board members, then I'd like to do a round of public speak and go ahead and move to adjournment. Is everybody okay with that? Anybody have any objections, thoughts?
Any other Board of Selectmen members have any comments?
Right.
Anybody on the Board of
all
Finance
boards.
have any comments to share?
Both boards.
Let's do it.
Well, hearing none, I guess I'll go around and ask for public comment before we wrap this up. So I don't think we have as many people left. Let's see. That's Lisa. That's okay. Joanne.
Just wanted to say good luck in the process. I know it's a long one, and I want to commend the treasurer for all her hard work and efforts, and seems to be doing a wonderful job there. That will be so helpful in such a new staff members in your building. Thank you.
Thank you.
Comment. On the agenda, it doesn't mention public speak after.
Oh, does it not? I apologize. I had, when I pulled up one of the other PDFs, it killed my meeting agenda. I don't know why my computer's doing that. All right. Normally we do 2 rounds in our meetings. That's the reason by creature of habit, I just defaulted to it. It's not on the agenda. I don't know. We might want to put that back in there. We usually do a public comment at the end of our meetings. So maybe next meeting we can alter the agenda for that purpose. But if the agenda is what it is, and I'll abide by it. Thank you, Louise.
Okay.
But again, everybody, if you didn't get heard at the end of this meeting, just, we have a meeting in a week. If you can make it, great. And as I mentioned to everybody here, I will reach back out to Valerie and see if she can come and present to us 25th. We'll make sure the recording happens, Liz. And everybody else help me, let's make sure on this one, because this is now a couple times we've had a little bit of a snafu. We're going to have some members who aren't here. Not
so
great.
Easy to.
I'm focusing on, trying to get the meeting going, and apologies. I am still new at this and I just missed it. All right. In that regard, do I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second that.
Thank you. You too. Any discussion? All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Abstentions, etc. All right, everybody. Thank you very much. We have a lot more to do. So I'll see
Recording
you
stopped.
next week. Oh, a reminder, 6 p.m. start next week. We had
6 p.m.
decided.
start. Yes.
All right.
Yep.
Hopefully I will not have any trouble getting home in time from work for that. If I have to scoff something down here in between our agenda items, bear with me. All right, guys. Thank you very much. And we'll see you then.